Hello students, today we will read up the chapter number 18 body fluids and the circulation of class 11th. The first topic is the blood. Blood is a special fluid which consists of the plasma, fluid matrix and the formed elements. जो plasma is a straw colored fluid which consists 55% of the blood and 90 to 92% of the plasma is the water and the remaining 8% is contributed by the proteins. For example, fibrinogen, globulins and the albumins. After that we have the fibrinogens which is needed for the clotting and the coagulation of the blood. जो globulins है they are involved in the defense mechanism and the albumins they are involved in the osmotic balance. Plasma also contains small amount of the minerals like the sodium, calcium, magnesium and the bicarbonate. Other things like the glucose, amino acid they are always present in the plasma in the transit form, something in the large amount, sometimes in the small amount. And plasma without the clotting factor is known as the serum. There are three formed elements. First one is the erythrocytes known as the RBC. They are the most abundant cells. We have 5 million to 5.5 million of the RBCs. They are formed in the red bone marrow. They are devoid of the nucleus. They don't have the nucleus. Why they don't have the nucleus? Because nucleus would occupy most of the space and they would have the less space for the hemoglobin. So for accommodating more of the hemoglobin, the RBC is devoid of the nucleus. We have 12 to 16 gram of the hemoglobin in the blood, in the 100 ml of the blood. The hemoglobin helps in transport of the gases. They have the average lifespan of the after of the 120 days, after which they are destroyed in the spleen. We have the WBC. They are the colorless due to the lack of the hemoglobin. They are nucleated. Their number is 6,000 to the 8,000 per mm of the blood. They are generally short lived. There are different types of the WBC. First one is the granulocyte and the second one is the agranulocyte. Granulocyte are the neutrophil, eosinophil and the basophil, while the agranulocyte are the lymphocyte and the monocyte. Neutrophil they are the most abundant, 60 to 65% of the total of WBC are the neutrophil, while basophil they are the least abundant. If we talk about the function, neutrophils and the monocyte they are the phagocytic. Any microorganism which enters the phagocytosis it, while basophil they secrete the chemicals like the histamine, serotonin and the heparin which are involved in the inflammatory reactions. Eosinophil they resist the infections and associated with the allergic reactions. Lymphocytes there are two types, B and the T forms. They are involved in the immune responses. Platelets, also known as the thrombocytes, they are not the cells, they are the cell fragments produced by the specialized cells known as the megakaryocytes in the bone marrow. We have 1.5 to 3 lakh of the platelets per mm cube. They are involved in the coagulation and the clotting of the blood. If the platelets count is reduced, for example in the dengue, there is excessive loss of the blood from the body. There are different blood groups, for example AB and the O, which is due to the presence of the different types of the antigens on the red blood cell surface and due to which they have the different antibodies in the plasma. O is the universal donor while the AB is the universal recipient. RH grouping, the blood could be the positive or the negative based on the presence of the RH negative. If the RH antigen is there, we have the positive blood, and if the RH antigen is not there, we have the RH negative blood. There is a disorder known as the erythroblastosis fetalis, which is due to the mismatching of the blood. Sometimes Rh positive, Rh negative mother and the Rh positive fetus blood is mixed, which results in the destruction of the RBC, and this phenomenon is known as the erythroblastosis fetalis. Lymph, it is used in the many functions like the absorption of the fat and in the exchange of the minerals and the other substances. We have the closed circulatory system because of the we have the heart, we have the blood vessels, but if the like some small animals have the open circulatory system, the blood is flowed in the open spaces known as the sinuses. After that we have the heart have the four chambers, two atrium, two ventricles, surrounded by a membrane known as the pericardium. Blood is traveled into the right atrium through the vena cava. From the right atrium it is flowed into the right ventricle, and from right ventricle it is traveled into the lungs for the oxygenation. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is taken up by the lungs and the oxygen is released into the blood. This oxygenated blood is then received by the left atrium. From the left atrium it is traveled into the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle it is traveled to hold the body by a specific blood vessel known as the aorta. We have the specific system known as the cardiac musculature or the nodal tissue, which helps in the regulation of the functioning of the heart. Electrocardiogram. This is the diagram which shows the different cycles of the heart. P, Q, R, S, T. These waves different express the different electrical cavity, and by measuring the different length of the ECG, we can predict any problem related to the heart. The last topic is the disorder of the circulatory system. The high blood pressure. The normal blood pressure is the 120 upon 80, and if the blood pressure of an individual is the 140 or the 90 or above it, then it is the hypertension or the high blood pressure. It is very dangerous, and it leads to the heart disease, and it affects the vital organs like the brain and the kidney. Second is the CAD, coronary artery disease, also known as the arteriosclerosis. It affects the vessels which supply the blood to the heart muscles. Like by the deposition of the calcium, fat, cholesterol, and the fibrous tissue, the lumens of the arterioles narrow, and the supply to the heart is blocked. Angina. Angina pectoris. It is the acute chest pain when the enough oxygen is not provided to the muscles. It can occur to any age group. The last is the heart failure, when the heart is not pumping effectively to meet the needs of the body due to many reasons like the congestive heart failure. Due to the congestion of the lungs, this can occur, and this is very dangerous and many times leads to the death. So this is all about the chapter number 18, body fluids and the circulation. I hope this video helps in understanding the concept. Thank you, students.